Hello there. I'm Tommy. Welcome to Blitz Transmissions. This is the Blitzcast, episode 15. Before we get into the content of today's episode, be sure to check out my links in the description below for my social media. But before you do that, if you're not subscribed, subscribe to the Blitz Transmissions channel. I've got awesome Star Wars content coming out all the time. Make sure, as far as my social media goes, to check out my Instagram page, my X page, where I make announcements for the channel on both. I also have a separate Instagram page called Blitz Bounties, not to be confused with my live stream series Blitz Bounties, where you'll see collection updates and things of that nature on Instagram. Also join my Discord. Discord is free to join. That's pretty much all I have to say on that. It's a message board, okay? That's all it is. It's a message board, free to join. You can get in touch with other Star Wars fans. We have some pretty awesome discussions in there on a daily basis. And finally, since we hit 500 subscribers and reached the 3,000 watch hour goal, the channel now is monetized. So we have access to super chats, super thanks, and super stickers for live streams and videos. And now we also have access to channel memberships, aka Rancor Battalion. If you want to find out all the details on Rancor Battalion, go check out the video that I posted earlier this week talking about channel memberships. There is also a community post. I know there were some people having some issues on the mobile devices finding the link to the channel membership. For some reason, it doesn't show up the same that it does on a desktop or PC. So basically, just check out my community tab on the channel, hit the link if you'd like to join the Rancor Battalion channel membership. This week on Blitz Transmissions, Blitz Bounties, Blitz.
Blitzcast.
Merry Blitzmas. I am here today with my lovely fiancé, becoming really just the co-host of the podcast, aren't you? Jen.
I think it's more of your, convenience of me being around.
Definitely not. No, absolutely not. Jen, we have had quite a day today. It is currently 11:45 at night, the night before this comes out. So yes. We are once again recording a late night pod. We were out. we were drinking and being merry. Mostly drinking and mostly being merry. It was actually pretty 50-50.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. Just going out. We got to see some friends. Shout out to Peter and Gabby and Peter. They're always awesome to hang out with. And I had a peach cobbler drink. It was amazing. Amazing. And Jen had this I
had it was apple cider.
Yeah.
Hot apple cider, and it had all the liquor in it.
All of them.
Name one. It was in that drink.
Rum, gin.
Yeah, it was gin, tequila, vodka, gin.
And it just
whiskey,
tasted like apples, though.
Bourbon.
Yeah.
And I drank 2 of them.
It was good. It was a lot of fun. They were good drinks. Let's see. Yeah, shout out to the Voodoo Brewery. They have banger drinks. Yeah, that's pretty much it, though. I'm trying to think if we have any other channel updates to give. I guess I'll make the announcement here. Check out next week. So a week from when this comes out, I will be doing a live stream on the channel called the Blitzmas live stream, Merry Blitzmas live stream. Myself, many familiar faces, many friends of the channel. We're going to be having a little party stream next Saturday, so that we can, just have if you didn't notice, you didn't pick up on it by now, Christmas is one of my favorite things to talk about. So I love Christmas. I love the season. I have the garland and the lights that I set up behind me. And there's plenty of other decorations all throughout our house. So just, make sure to tune in for that stream. I think it'll be a lot of fun. Who knows what we're going to get up to? I'm sure I'm going to come up with some ridiculousness, some fun activities for us to come up with. Yeah. So Jen,
Yes.
Star Wars, all that.
Star Wars.
Sipping on some coffee. Check out my Mandalorian mug. I got this at Wally World. You can do this. You can put all 4 fingers through it. I left my Ahsoka's T6 shuttle outside on the mantle. I was showing Jen how to fly a ship, how a ship comes out of hyperspace, and I was using my Micro Galaxy Squadron Ahsoka T6 shuttle, and I'd go. I would show that it flies really slow when it comes out of hyperspace. What?
Yep.
Is something funny?
What are we talking about?
We're talking about Dave Filoni's recent interview. I believe this was at the Skeleton Crew red carpet event. Dave Filoni was asked about Ahsoka Season 2. Now, recently we've been hearing a lot of fake news about the Ahsoka Season 2, that it was scrapped altogether. We heard that it's not in development anymore, that it's going to be canceled, and blah, blah, blah. Dave Filoni was asked about Ahsoka Season 2 at I believe it was the Skeleton Crew red carpet event. And what Dave Filoni had to say was that he just finished the work on the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. We know that's kind of, the Mandalorian has been kind of Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni's tag team project. So it makes sense that Dave Filoni would be pretty heavily involved in the movie. And then as far as Ahsoka goes, he said it's just taking longer than he expected, basically. Not longer than he expected, but he's taking his time because he's writing the entire script by himself. That's what he did for Season 1. He's doing the same thing for Season 2. And he said that, replacing Baylan Skoll is a big part of it. Not the character, but, a new actor. Those are big shoes to fill. And just that he wants to make sure that it's done well, and now that they finished filming and everything for Mandalorian and Grogu, he can really focus all his energy on Ahsoka Season 2. And that's the confirmation. It's coming, and that's that. Jen, thoughts?
I'm really excited. I think our last episode, we talked about consistency in writing, so it's cool to hear that this will be another season of a show where it's a consistent writer.
Yeah.
It's a coherent story. It keeps the tone. It keeps you invested because there's no weird patchwork of a story. So
apparently Ahsoka is slow and boring. I see that sentiment a lot.
It's not intense, no. But it's cinematic, and she's going through character development, and I think people don't like when a story is focused on emotional growth. And that's what Ahsoka is. It's her forgiving herself. It's her coming to terms with grief. And that can be boring for people who are emotionally immature. So, but it's really interesting for me. Wow.
Let them know, babe. I'm obviously excited for Ahsoka. We both think that Ahsoka is the best live action series that Star Wars has put out. So that's our hot take here on the Blitzcast. Other than that, I don't really have any other news or announcements or anything. Just wanted to keep you guys updated on the Ahsoka situation, because I'm pretty sure I made a topical video just talking about that, didn't I? I make so many videos on this channel. I just spit. I'm like, oh, I want to do this today, and then I just record something for 20 minutes. I'm pretty sure I made a video. I on the I definitely did. One of the ones where I sit and I rant for 10 minutes about the misinformation of Ahsoka. That's really all I have to say on that. Now what we have to talk about this week is the Skibbity Crew, Star Wars Skeleton Crew Episode 3. We are here to talk about it. So, Jen, coming off of the first 2 episodes of Skeleton Crew, how are we feeling going into Episode 3?
I mean, I was very excited. I think this show is just it's fun. It's it's interesting.
Right.
There's a great mystery going on. But it's just fun to watch. Like, I really appreciate that. There's no, deep-rooted, like, you're trying to figure out emotions and dynamics. It's like, it's a fun mystery. And I think this episode kept that going.
Yeah, I agree. Going into this one, I was really excited. I watched the first episode of Skeleton Crew 3 times. I've watched the second one twice, and I was really excited coming into the third. Initial thoughts, if you were just to boil down your thoughts on the third episode into just a few words before we kind of dive in. What's your thoughts on the third episode? Just general thoughts.
I think it kept the story going. I think it was a little bit slower.
For sure.
Not that it wasn't interesting, but it wasn't as, like, whoa, I didn't have as many, like, oh, wow moments as I did the first 2 episodes. But that's okay. I'm excited to learn more about Jude Law's character.
There's a lot of intrigue with Nawood in this episode, or is that really even his name? My thoughts are this was definitely, so far, my least favorite of the 3 episodes we've gotten, but that doesn't mean I disliked it. This is how storytelling goes. This is the chapter where we had our big, info dump, our exposition, our, big introducing all the character moments in the first couple episodes, and now we need to kind of take a little dip before we move into the next story beat. We had to have another little info dump here before we move forward again. So going into Skeleton Crew episode 3, I think one of the things I really want to point out first is I like that the kids are individuals. I like that they all have varying levels of their opinion of Jadna Nawood. I really like that Wim is like that he is an idealist. He believes that this guy is a Jedi, so therefore he must be good. He associates the Jedi with pure good. And Fern is the exact opposite. She is the doubting Thomas of the group. She does not think, even though she has seen him use the Force, she can't believe it. She's not a believer. And then you have KB, who really had a lot of spotlight in this episode. I really liked the KB moments because she felt like very much a side character in the first 2. This time we got to see KB be the analytical one, be the one who is kind of, really challenging Jod on what his motives are and who he really is. And then there's Wim, who's just, or Neil, who's just along for the ride. But yeah, that's I really, really like how the characters have different reactions to Jod, and that stays consistent throughout the episode. And
it's clear what their opinions are, but also they're presenting their opinions in a way that a kid would present.
Yes, we continue on that consistency as well, yeah.
It's, that can be hard, now that we're getting into the meat and potatoes of the story, to keep the kids, keep their dialogue making sense as they react to things. It can be hard writing that. But, I'm just thinking of Wim's, fanboy moments with, I just keep calling him Jude Law because I don't want
Jude Law. That's totally intentional.
And that's what kids do, and he keeps that up, but he's not talking in a way of like, wow, you're really cool, and just not really how kids actually talk. He's trying to act kind of cool. He's trying to impress him.
Yeah.
That's really fun. And yeah, I agree with KB's couple spotlights. I think I really like her character. I like that she's not just not just like the hacker type of character that you see in old old shows, she's analytical, but she's also, she's like trying to find reason for the things that we're doing. Or that they're doing throughout the show. It's not just like, let me tap into this real quick. Or like the tech character. You know what I mean?
I've hacked into the mainframe.
So, yeah, I appreciated her couple moments.
Yeah, definitely. I think in particular, I like that we're able to establish that right at the beginning. I like that the plot of this show isn't trying to spoon feed things to you. It's very intelligent and everything feels very purposeful. There are moments in the show. I honestly, I really like that we're also not doing, I don't know, I guess the best way to explain it is we have a happy medium. We're not getting spoon-fed the story, but we're getting bits and pieces, and we're kind of piecing it together as we go, theory crafting, doing things like that, increasing the intrigue and the mystery of the story. However, we also are not having the carrot dangled in front of us all the way until the very, very end, and then, you know, it a lot of times it falls flat and it doesn't pay off because you get all the way to the end of the show. They finally give you the answer and you're like, well, that's it. You waited the entire show to tell me this. So I think that this show is doing a great job narratively of finding that balance, which I think Star Wars shows have been lacking that aspect recently. We either have the carrot dangle all the way till the very end, or we have just, and this is why you should remember this, and this is why it's important. Yeah, I appreciate that they make it clear from the start of like, this is a mysterious planet. The other plot is that they can't get home. They're trying to get home. And then there's this mysterious person that is a pirate. But we don't really know where he stands with all this. I like it. I like that you genuinely don't know.
You don't know, but also you know what the story is.
Yes,
you know what the mystery is. Like you said, there's none of the like, but we don't know what's actually the problem the whole time. That's like, it's a mystery, sure, but we need something to kind of to guide us. Yes. And to look for plot points when you're watching it.
To tell us why we should be watching.
Yeah, why am I watching this if I don't even know what the mystery is?
Yeah. With these characters, you know what really a new character, I guess that was what I was trying to get to, that really pulled me in was, I believe her name is Kim. I'm going to check on that. The owl. The owl cat alien thing. She lives in this, like, observatory on this planet. At first, I thought this planet was Polis Massa, the planet from the end of Revenge of the Sith, where Padme gives birth to Luke and Leia. Because it was, like, basically, it just looks like the moon. But they go to this planet, and there's this owl creature, and she's some sort of like cartographer, basically, like a map reader. And her building reminds me a lot of, I think her name is Helga, or Olga or something from the Dark Crystal. Her name escapes me right now. I know that you guys who have seen the Dark Crystal will know what I'm talking about. She lives in a giant observatory with a giant telescope. That she helps the Gelfling find his way on his journey. And I had some serious, throwback to that. And I think that, as with a lot of things in this show, that was very intentional. A lot of things in this show are very intentional 80s references, and I really have loved them all so far. I can't think of a single one that I really, disliked. As far as her character, I thought she was really great, and I thought I wouldn't like her design. So I thought I wouldn't like the character because I would think her design was very jarring. But I found myself really enjoying her character.
I'm trying to remember what the big reveal with her was.
Oh, the big reveal is that is about At-Aden.
Yeah.
So it seems like, this is huge. This is like where we're starting to get into the lore here. Obviously the kids, they don't know about the Galactic Empire existing at all. Let's be clear there. They don't know that Alderaan was just like, so Kim makes a reference about Alderaan being destroyed. And then Neil says something about an empire, you know?
Well, and they said that the only planets they learned about in school were Coruscant and Alderaan.
Yeah, exactly. So that obviously tells us that we are in the era of pre the Clone Wars, even, because we get the in the first episode where Fern's mom comes into Wim and Neil's classroom. She talks about that they're in a time of peace. Mm-hmm. So obviously we are predating episode 1, The Phantom Menace, as well, which is a big deal. I guess technically you could be between episode 1 and episode 2. You could be somewhere where Palpatine took office. Mm-hmm. Because what I'm thinking of there is, this planet was locked away. It kind of makes me wonder if this is part of Palpatine's contingency plan. Mm-hmm. Which I think would be cool if it connects to the larger Star Wars universe in that way, because it's still very inconsequential. Basically, you find out Aden is like a vault planet. Mm-hmm. It's full of riches, and there were other planets like it that were hidden from the rest of the galaxy. And because of those immense riches for the Republic. Now, my first thought is, well, that sounds like something Palpatine would do.
Yeah.
And why would Palpatine do that if not to fund the First Order? Mm-hmm. Make sure they have credits coming in. So that's kind of the big reveal of this episode.
Yeah, I thought it was... I thought that whole sequence was really cool. Mm-hmm. The research part of it and pulling out the old maps and mentioning planets that I think you recognized a couple planets or something when we were watching it, but
okay, Kim. It is Kim. It's just spelled very weird. I think it's KH''YMM.
Okay.
Sounds like how some of you guys that live in cul-de-sacs would name your kids nowadays. Got to be different somehow, right? You cul-de-sac dwellers naming your kids these silly spellings. Your kids can't even spell their names. Anyway, sorry.
Let's not get into that now.
I'm gonna go crazy.
We've been drinking.
I'm fine now. I just had a cup of Joe. You were talking about the planet references. You said that I recognize some of them?
Now I don't remember.
I'm trying to think.
But I thought that was a cool sequence.
I think
it made it feel a little bit more mystical for the first time in this show.
Yes.
You had that bit of Star Wars lore, which we love, kind of sprinkled into it. And I think those are cool moments, especially in a show that's not super mystical heavy. You know what I mean?
I think a big thing about this show that I think... And again, I've heard largely positive things about this show. But I think something that is very striking to me is this show really shows, for those who are not enjoying it, how the magic in their lives is completely gone. And they have forgotten any and all magic that may or may not have existed in their childhood. Because when I've heard criticisms, and most of it's just people trying to poke holes in, the show and its narrative, as people do with everything nowadays. That we have the kids get so taken aback when they see stars. I had no idea there were so many. And then again, in this episode, we reiterate that the barrier goes up at night and it's like a cloud over the sky so that the planet is hidden. And they say they've never seen stars. And I forget where it was. But I watched someone say, well, that's kind of weird because they obviously learned about stars in school. So why would they think it's so amazing when they see them? And I'm like, yeah, because when I, have read about whales in a book and I see a whale for the first time, I wouldn't think that that's cool or neat at all because I read it in a book. So, it doesn't impress me. Mm-hmm. So it's very interesting to hear those reactions, because again, that just also comes back to the how well these kids are written. You know, when Kim is giving this explanation about Aden, Wim does not believe it. He's not buying it. I think some of the other kids are starting to get it a little bit, but Wim's like, no, our planet's so boring. Like, how could there possibly be anything on our planet? So it's cool. It's nice. I like the authenticity there.
Yeah, it is interesting. I was thinking about Fern in the first episode saying like I wish I could get out of this dumb planet or
now
something.
All she wants to do is go home.
Yeah, and it's just such a classic, like, this is a small town planet that if you've lived there your whole life, it's not interesting to you, but turns out it's a destination.
Yeah, for pirates.
So I think that's a fun story plot. Yeah, I don't know. Sorry.
Speaking of pirates, there's a really funny exchange between Jod and SM-33 on the ship. Jod is being himself and plundering the ship for weapons and, you know, clothing, and this is how he ends up getting the outfit that his action figure has. I thought that was neat. And then you have SM-33 comes out, and Jod's kind of asking him about these kids and about Aden, and SM-33 goes, aye, and he leaves. And Jod's like, has a moment, he's having that moment of contemplation, then here comes SM-33. Aye. And then leaves. Like, what? That's so silly. Things like that. It's just, I love little stupid moments like that. And then with Jod, though, there's a lot going on here. So he's known as Captain Silvo to the pirates, which is now run by, he's the leader of that pirate gang that is now run by Brutus. Clearly, Jod, we get that exposition at the beginning. Jod's in jail in the brig because he got good men killed for a false claim of treasure. And he's getting out, but he's also known to the New Republic as a wanted person called Crimson Jack. So is his name Jack Silvo, do we think?
It's a good name.
He's known as Captain Silvo. It's very on the nose to Jack Sparrow, in my opinion. Yeah, what are your thoughts on that? What is because Kim knows him and calls the New Republic on him.
Yeah.
So clearly we're in New Republic space or near it on this planet. But I'm interested. What are your thoughts on what's going on with Jod here?
I think it's a situation of him having multiple names and aliases so that he can jump from planet to planet.
It could also be that. Yeah.
And I'm curious to know why he knew Kim and why she even helped him in the first place.
Yeah.
You know,
she helped him to stall.
Right,
Yeah.
but like clearly they had worked together before. So that's I don't know. I'm curious about that dynamic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, his name could be Jack Silvo. I think again, I said this last week when we were talking about the first episodes, I think he's a con man. I think he's...
Yeah. Do you think he's actually has the Force?
I don't know.
I think he does. I think he's a Force sensitive, but I don't think I don't think he's a Jedi.
No, I agree, actually, because in this episode, he did something or whatever to, and it was, like, very simple, and I was like, well, that couldn't be just a gimmick.
Well, like when he's helping them escape, and he seems to sense that someone's coming.
I think he is Force sensitive, but he chose, like, or who knows how this situation worked, where he was not noticed as using the Force.
I'm thinking that the Jedi Order was already gone, or he was just never found.
Yeah, then now he wasn't noticed and he wasn't trained, and so he ended up using his gift for piracy.
Yeah, and that's
which I think is really funny.
It's a very interesting concept. It's very realistic too. Not every Force sensitive person was found by the Jedi, and especially after the Jedi are gone, most of them were killed by the Empire.
Right.
So you have a very interesting dynamic with the history of the Force sensitives, for the last 30 plus years at this point. I really like the intrigue. I personally think that he is Force sensitive. I'm going to lock that in because I don't think that he's a complete con artist. I think that he's lying about who he is because he doesn't want to acknowledge who he really is. I think that he does all these things as like a facade. What that is, I don't think we know yet, and I like that we don't know yet. I'm intrigued in his character because when I reviewed his action figure, I felt quite bored by it because his design is very plain. And I'm very happy that now watching the show, I have so much interest in this character, and I'm invested, and I'm intrigued to see what happens next.
I'm thinking about, the whole point that he was in jail was he thought that there was money in that transport.
Yeah. And
I wonder, I guess the sensing part of it wouldn't really show you money, but he also would know that the one guy on the ship was telling the truth. Maybe.
Yeah.
With the Force, that they didn't have any money there.
Yeah.
So I wonder if there's any type of block, and I guess he wasn't professionally trained.
Yeah, exactly.
With the Jedi, but I wonder if there's a block because he's, kind of using his gift in a rogue manner. Rogue way.
Yeah. Rogue One. Yeah. I think that there's a lot. I want to know what he did to be wanted by the New Republic. Is it the heist that we saw in the first scene of the first episode? Because that ship was under New Republic charter. So I wonder if it has to do with that, or if he's just got some crimes racked up against the New Republic that now he's wanted for. And then on top of that, now Brutus put a bounty on his head. So now there's going to be other people after them as well, whether it be, bounty hunters or mercenaries, you name it, other pirates. There's going to be people that he's got a lot of people after him right now. I think, though, it is obvious that Jod wants to get to At-Aden for the riches.
Oh, yeah.
That's the pirate thing.
Definitely.
Yeah. But I also really like that scene at the end there, where the X-Wings are coming and the kids are stopping him because I don't think they realize the seriousness of the situation they found themselves in, and they're like, "Who are you? Who really are you?" What does he say? I'm lost like you? Is something along those lines, which again I think feeds into my theory.
Yeah.
But yeah. Thoughts, Jennifer? Are you tired?
I'm running out of steam.
She's running out of steam. So I guess, we can make this a little bit of a shorter one. This is a shorter episode. What are your expectations, thoughts going into the next episode here? Because now we seem to have a star chart to get us to At-Aden. Do you think we're going to have an episode or two in a rim before we get to At-Aden? Are we going to have bumps in the road along the way?
I think next episode, I think it's going to be another them jumping to the next checkpoint in their journey.
Okay.
But I think we're going to see a little bit more of what's going on At-Aden with their parents.
That's a scene I want to bring up real quick, is we have just a glimpse, nothing crazy. We do have a scene where we have KB's parents, Neil's mom, Wim's dad, and Fern's mom meeting up, talking about the kids being lost. No one seems to believe Wim's dad for some reason. I don't know why everyone is like, and again, what's funny to me is that the security droid is only focused on the fact that it's a serious violation of policy. Do you think that when they get back to At-Aden, that the supervisor, who is obviously the person that's keeping this planet a secret, is going to have the kids taken away? That's kind of what I get to. So maybe Jod kind of has the opportunity to get the riches, for bringing the kids back, and he calls the pirate gang. Initially, it's to help him plunder the planet of its riches, but it might actually be that's where he has his change of heart, where sometime between now and the end of the show, he has some real good moments with these kids.
Yeah. And
he kind of has that change of heart that we're expecting to happen anyway, because he's the Han Solo type character. And decides that, he needs to do the selfless act and help the kids out instead of, and maybe he can get the pirates to help him do that for the right price. Yeah.
I think Wim's dad is going to have some moments of like breaking the illusion a little bit, since he's, he saw it.
Yeah.
He knows what happened. And no one's believing him, and I think we started to see him on edge this past one, and I think he's going to start going a little bit kooky.
Do you think the parents know more than we're led to believe?
I think Fern's mom knows more.
Fern's mom definitely knows more. I wonder if Wim's dad knows something. I wonder if Wim's mom wasn't just like, oh, she got sick and died in the classic Disney way. I wonder if she was taken away because she knows too much. And maybe that's why Wim's dad says things like, aren't you a little too old for stories?
Yeah.
Well, mom used to read me the stories. Maybe Wim's mom liked adventure a little too much and the supervisor had her removed.
Maybe she's a pirate now.
That would be cool.
Maybe she's out in the world.
Maybe she's Maz Kanata.
She just left her family and became a pirate.
Yeah, and you ever read The Odyssey? She leaves for a long, extended period of time just because.
Yeah.
I think honestly, this is what I love. I love the theory crafting like this, where we're like, what if? And then we get to see how it plays out. Because this is very different from my predictions that we had last episode, where I was like, oh, yeah, definitively, this is my prediction for the end of the series. And I like when things unravel in a way that it, my theories change and develop week to week. So I think now my definitive theory will be that the kids get back and the supervisor and the security droids have the kids taken away because they've seen too much. They know too much. They know the truth about At-Aden. Maybe they'll be mind flared, like they were like they did in The Mandalorian, where they have their minds wiped. That'd be cool.
The electronics.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I think Wim's dad is going to be having, because there's that one scene in the trailers where Wim's dad and Fern's mom seem to be arguing, and I feel like it's at Fern's house about what they're going to do. So I think Wim's dad might know something, and I think we're going to get a little more depth with that. It's Star Wars. There's always something more than meets the eye. That's a Transformers reference. Jen, any further predictions, thoughts, anything else you want to add before we end this episode of the Blitzcast?
No, I'm just excited to see the next episode.
It is fun to just be enjoying a Star Wars series. I'm having a blast. I'm having a blast with Skeleton Crew. And if you haven't watched it yet, I would hope that you start, because this show is seriously fun. And with that, that's going to end a shorter episode of the Blitzcast this week, which is good because I need to evacuate my thorax. So, guys, with that being said, again, make sure to subscribe if you're not yet subscribed. Check out all the links in the description below. Check out the Discord and join the Rancor Battalion if you'd feel so inclined. We'll catch you for the next podcast. May the Force be with you.